Hello everyone, welcome back to Info Science. So in today's video we shall discuss about some of the basic concept of the acids and bases. So let's discuss about it. So what is acids? So acid, these are the substances that are sour in taste and it turns the blue litmus red, and also it releases the hydrogen ion when dissolved in water. So some of the acids are sulfuric acid, acetic acid, nitric acid. So these are some examples of the acid. So these acids, these are also of different types. So on the basis of the occurrence, the acids are of two types. So one is the natural acid and the another one is the mineral acid. So the natural acids, from the name itself we can know that so these acids, these are obtained from the natural sources, and this natural acid, it is also known as the organic acid. So some of the examples of the natural acids are methanoic acid, acetic acid, oxalic acid. So all these acids, these are obtained from the natural sources. Next is the mineral acid. So these mineral acids are what? These are the acids that are prepared from the minerals. So some of the examples of the mineral acids are the hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, carbonic acid. So all these acids, these are prepared from the minerals. So next, these acids are also classified on the basis of the strength. So this strength here, what it means? So it means that the amount of the hydrogen ion that is given out when the acid is dissolved in water. So on that basis, the acids are of two types. So one is the strong acids. So the acids that completely dissociate into hydrogen ions, so that is known as the strong acid. So some of the examples are the hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid. So these are the strong acids. And weak acids are, these are the acids that partially dissociate into hydrogen ions. So it will just dissociate some little bit, not much. So such type of acids are the carbonic acid. So these are the weak acid. Next is, on the basis of the water content, the acids are of two types. So one is the dilute acid. So dilute acid is what? So this type of acids, they have more amount of water in it and the least amount of the salt content. So example is the hydrochloric acid. And the concentrated acids are what? The acid here, it has the very less amount of water and the more amount of the salt contain. So the examples are the concentrated acid and sulfuric acid. So these acids are what? These are sour in taste and they turns blue litmus red, and also it releases the hydrogen ion when it is dissolved in water. So these acids are of two types on the basis of the occurrence. One is the natural acid and the mineral acid, and then on the basis of the strength, it is of two types, that is the strong acid and weak acid, and on the basis of the water content, it is of two types, that is the dilute acid and the concentrated acid. Now let us know about the bases. So bases are bitter in taste and they have some soapy taste, and it turns the red litmus blue, and also it gives hydroxide ion in the aqueous solution. So in case of acid, it gives the, or it releases the hydrogen ion when dissolved in water, but in case of base, it gives the hydroxide ion. So that is the main difference in the acids and bases. So example are the sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide. So these are some examples of the bases. So these bases are also of different types. So on the basis of the solubility in water, these bases are of two types, that is the soluble bases and the another one is the insoluble bases. So soluble bases means what? That these are the bases that are soluble in water. So this soluble bases, it is also known as the alkalis. So some of the examples are the sodium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide. And then insoluble bases means what? These are the bases that are insoluble in water. So example is the copper hydroxide, then calcium hydroxide. And yes, one of the important point in here is that all bases are not alkalis, but all alkalis are the bases. So that is one of the important thing. So next is, on the basis of the strength, these bases are of two types. So one is the strong bases. So strong bases, they completely dissociate in water to give the hydroxide ion. So example is the hydroxide of all reactive metals. And the weak bases are that do not completely dissociate in water to give the hydroxide ion. So example is the calcium hydroxide. So here bases are what? They are bitter in taste and they turns the red litmus blue and give the hydroxide ion in the aqueous solution. And it is of different types on the basis of the solubility in water. They are the soluble bases and insoluble bases. And on the basis of the strength, the bases are of two types. The one is the strong basis and the another one is the weak basis. Now, so this acids and base, how will indicate that it is acid or base? So the substance that is used to indicate the acidic or basic nature, that is known as the indicators. So these indicators are what? These are the substance which indicates the acidic and the basic nature of the solution by the color change. So there will be the color change in while adding the indicators. So there are different types of indicators. The one is the natural indicator, then the other one is the olfactory indicators, then the last one is the synthetic indicators. So this natural indicators are what? From the name itself only we can know this type of indicators, these are obtained from the natural sources. So examples are the litmus, then turmeric, China rose. So now let us discuss about this. So the litmus, it is obtained from the lichen, and the solution of the litmus, it is purple in color. So this litmus paper also, it comes in two types. The one is the red and blue. So acids, it turns the blue litmus paper red, and bases always turns the red litmus paper blue. Then in case of turmeric, as we know that the turmeric is a natural indicator and it is yellow in color. So this turmeric solution also we can use, or we can use the paper. So if we use the turmeric paper, it turns the reddish brown with the bases and there is no color change in the acid. So this is the change in the acid and bases. But in case of red cabbage, so red cabbage, the juice of the red cabbage, it is originally it is purple in color, and the juice of the red cabbage, it turns reddish with acid and it turns greenish with base. Now the next type of indicator is the olfactory indicators. So these are the substances where there is the change of the smell when it is mixed with acid or base. So example is the onion and vanilla. So this onion, it loses its smell when it is the juice of the onion, when it is added to base, it loses its smell, but when it is added to acid, there is no any such change. But in case of vanilla, the smell of the vanilla, it vanishes with the base, but there is no smell change, or there's no the smell of the vanilla doesn't vanish with an acid. And the last one is the synthetic indicators. So synthetic indicators, these are synthesized in the laboratory, or it is made in the laboratory. So some of the example is the phenolphthalein, methyl orange. So this phenolphthalein, it is a colorless liquid and it remains colorless with the acid, but it turns pink with the base. So you can see here in the picture the color change in the acid and base. And the last one is the methyl orange. So methyl orange, it is orange in color and it turns into red with acid and turns into yellow with base. So these indicators are what? these are the substances that indicates the acidic or basic nature of the solution. By what? That is by the color change. And the different types of indicators are the natural indicators, then olfactory indicators, and then the synthetic indicators. So natural indicators are the litmus, turmeric, china rose. Then olfactory indicators are what? Onion, vanilla. And the synthetic indicators are examples are the phenolphthalein and methyl orange. So this is all about the some of the basic concept of the acids and base.